So you can see the gap we put in here now. This is way lower than the standard installation. It comes up quite a bit down here. So the way we mounted this arm, we can now compensate for between a 1-inch to a 3-inch ride height drop. We get it right down to 0 at static ride height, no problem, the way it is, which is about twice what you could do with the standard installation. And I don't think it'd be any weaker either. And it actually changes the roll center too, which is a side benefit, because the angle that these arms are at, I personally believe they get too much camber gain mid-corner. When we hit the bump stop after about 2-inch travel from our target ride height, we get about 2.1 degrees negative camber, which is not bad at all. So by changing that angle so much, like we also cantered it this way, the bind was crazy on this side. So we ended up having to completely remove this entire bracket, undo all these welds, take the top plate off, go through several layers of really thick steel. It was a mega pain in the ass to do. And then we set the other arm to about the midpoint for adjustment, and then clocked this guy at an angle where it was perfectly happy at. So now we have no bind at any point in the adjustment range of the camera. And yeah, it's perfectly happy. It's essential. Like, you gotta do it if you want to go this low. Whole 2 inches, woo! So another little thing here, check this guy out. You may have noticed our brackets here. This is not the stock bracket for the subframe. So I don't understand why SupraPro has been able to sell these brackets for so long, or these bushings, because their bushings changed the design of how this all works. The stock bracket is contoured and it fit into the stock bushing like it popped inside of it, and it uniformly put pressure on it and it clamped it to the subframe. If you use the stock brackets, you only have contact on the new SupraPros in this area here where the bolt is. This little lip, about 3/8 of urethane, is literally all that is keeping your subframe on the car when you jack it up off of the body points, or worse, as you go around a corner and you lean really hard. It's just that little lip keeping the damn thing on your car that is going to fail on somebody one of these days. So what you need is a flat bracket designed like this, nice and thick. Here, check this out. If you don't believe me about the stresses on this, see if I can get it to show up in the video. You can actually see that from being suspended like that, this 12 gauge sheet steel is actually bowing just a little bit in the center. This center is a little bit higher than the rest. That's how much force is put on that. And imagine what it does. We actually had a gap between the body of about 1/2 inch with the stock brackets installed. So it was not good. Anyways, George Raptor is going to be producing a copy of these for sale for the community soon. So watch out for that. If you've got poly bushings, you need those. Getting on to brakes. Nothing too fancy here. Same setup basically as in the front with just a thinner rotor. Then we've got exhaust system. This is Raptor's 2.5 inch or 3 inch Magnaflow twin tip. Very nice looking muffler. They do modify this thing. You can see how it's sunken in here by cutting off the 2 1/4 inch flange, which they come with, expanding it on the inside to 3 inches, and then welding on that guy. It's one way to do it. There are other options though. They're actually, Vibert makes a whole bunch of 3 inch pipes, or 3 inch twin tip mufflers now too, so there's other ways to go, but nice looking muffler, that's for sure. Really like the catback. Catback is also George's, Raptor's. It didn't really give us any huge problems. It was all, the fitment was all to do with the downpipe, but this is pretty tight. I like it even tighter though. Ground clearance was paramount where this thing's going to be driving, so I took about a 1/4 inch out of that hanger there, raised it up. And then for a cat, we went with Vibrant's 3-inch all-metal stainless cat. This is a high-flow one. It's actually got a spiral core in it, which I've never seen in a cat before. Obviously bigger openings than your standard performance cat. I looked at all the MagnaFlow ones, and all the MagnaFlow, all stainless cats had mild steel inlets and outlets on them. So this was the only way to get something that actually wouldn't rust. For the downpipe, this is a Megan Racing, some stock 1JZ application downpipe. We didn't buy it. It came with the car. Normally we would get something from one of the vendors. But it seemed like it would work all right, so we threw it on there. It seemed okay at first, but I ended up having to cut it and re-weld it in like 3 different places, and spent quite a bit of time clocking it correctly. But the fitment did turn out quite nice. It's really tight. It doesn't touch the body. It looks like it does. I had actually pounded the body panel, the floor pad up just a little bit there, just to get it fitting a little bit tighter. And then wrapped it all, and then you saw that wide band bung we put into there. While we're under here, also forgot to mention the filter is stock 2JZ Mark IV application. Fit on the stock Mark II bracket and bolted right in. There's really nothing to it. Pretty simple. Getting on to the drivetrain, which was so much fun. It fought us the entire way through. Everything was like, it just was not fun. Starting with the line, we went with an Earl's line, Earl's stainless line. We just picked up a local parts store, got the right fittings for it, put it all together, no problems, except they're not designed for the Toyota nuts. The thread's right, but the Toyota nuts aren't threaded all the way. You need a longer fitting to use them. So we had to change to a new hard line there. Our slave ended up being dead, and then once that was working, the clutch still didn't work, and we finally took a peek inside here, because we bought this motor and tranny together, and the previous owner does not know how a pull clutch works. It was completely unhooked, so it all came apart, and we put a new clutch while we were in there, and had to get new flywheel bolts too, because they reused those, and they are not reusable. This is how we did the clearancing for the R154. Just cut a little access panel here out, and then offset it and welded the top plate in. It's pretty tight, but I could have gone further here the way I did this too. But this way there was no BFG hammer on the tunnel, and all our interior panels actually fit properly. So this was a nicer way to do it, in my opinion. This tranny doesn't go far back as most people's R154s. This is actually the stock W58 5-speed Mark II cross member without modification. It just worked. We did have to re-weld the hole, or recut the hole and re-weld the nuts and everything, so it looks like factory up top. But still, it didn't move that far back. The stock center console is completely unmodified and doesn't interfere on it at all. Get onto the drive shaft. We couldn't find an R154 one. It's starting to get hard to find. For just the yoke is what we were looking for. But I managed to find a Mark III NA Auto drive shaft at a wrecking yard, and they use the same flange on this side. So we actually took the entire thing and took it to a shop and got them to build us one complete drive shaft, one piece. It only took them 3 tries to get it right, and they're still off by 6 millimeters, but it actually worked out okay. Okay, so this is the Mark III shaft, or yoke on the end as well, flange I should say, with the Mark III bigger, fully serviceable U-joints, unlike the stock Mark II ones, which are not, and are way smaller too. We didn't want to run them for both those reasons. Simple solution: re-drill the flange on the Mark II diff. You can see how those bolts fit. Would I do this if I was building a 700 horsepower build? No, but I would bet that this combination is stronger than the stock Mark II U-joints made it to the stock flange, so the 400 wheel horsepower that would be the most this car will ever see. I think that'll be just fine. Diff was royal pain in the ass. It is a 4.3 pumpkin with 372 gears out of a Mark 1 Supra, with all Toyota bearings and seals, rear pinion solid spacer. Totally recommend that. Totally the way to go. And a True Track 644 LSD, which must have been like a made on Friday afternoon special or something, because it did not fit the case. Even the thickest Toyota bearings, had we bought them, or carrier shims, would have not been enough. It was still out by a fair bit. We had to have custom shims made for it. And yeah, getting the pinion depth was a pain too, and all that. Took my diff guy quite a while to get it right. But it was a tough job, but he did it. So that is about it for drivetrain and suspension, mechanical side of things. Body-wise, obviously the car has been painted and it's all done. It's just getting put back together and stuff right now. Most noticeable thing here, of course, is the crown jewel in this car, the sunroof, moonroof assembly from a 2001 Toyota Celica. And I could not be happier with how the bodywork turned out on this. We actually cut the roof about there to there, panel all the way, and there was taken right off the other car's roof. And the whole thing was welded in, and then left me a shit ton of bodywork to do to get it right. But I didn't think we would get it perfect, but we did. It is literally flawless. You cannot tell that this roof has been taken from another car. One neat little thing. See if you can spot it. The contour of the roof has actually changed now. I don't think it's terribly noticeable, but this Celica does have a curvier roof, and we've changed the lines of the Mark II. I know. But again, I don't think anybody will really notice normally. Looks great, so had to be done to fit the moonroof without it all working right. So anyway, so that is about it. Thanks for listening to this incredibly long video, and we'll try and get some proper updates up there soon.